Welcome back, listener. How are you doing? And welcome back to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. Hey, everybody. Aaron Richmond here from Aaron's Opinion with another exciting episode. Oh, yeah, by the way, this episode of Aaron's Opinion is copywritten by Aaron Richmond and Aaron's Opinion. Thank you. This podcast can be heard almost anywhere you get a podcast. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube. I really noticed that last time you guys got a lot out of this video experience last time, and I noticed that you all really enjoyed it from around the world. So here we are again. Well, if you're completely fed up with my opinions, well, I can understand. But tonight you will be hearing some unsightly opinions.
Hello.
Tamara joins us, and she is a YouTuber from the universe, and she would like to speak to us tonight about, well, her unsightly opinions and specifically blind hobbies. Welcome to Aaron's Opinion. How's it going?
Hi. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Is it cold out in New York these days, or are we? Are you still avoiding the snow? Because we had our first snowfall today up here in Canada.
Well, good, good. We are in fact avoiding the snow, as we would say. It doesn't usually snow here wherever I am until um, well, November, December, January,
Mhm.
February, but we can get very, very, very violent storms at any
Mhm.
time of the year. So it always keeps you on your toes for stuff
Oh,
like that.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel that is.
Click the
Uh,
link in the description for more information. Okay,
oh
go ahead.
yes, yes. Please come check us. Come check me out. We have lots of fun over there. I do an accessible gaming stream. I do everything blindness related, whether you're sighted, low vision, blind, there's something for everyone. So I have many unsightly opinions, and I feel really blessed to be on Aaron's Opinions today. We'll
You're
be sharing
very
lots of
kind of you.
those.
Thank. So go share all of share and out of interest,
Mm.
you will appreciate this. Even illegally sighted was on this channel. So I've
Oh,
yes I've had other blind gamers too. Yes.
very
Mm-hmm.
nice. I'll
Yes.
have to go check
So
it
what
out.
are some? I'll be more than happy to send you that one if I can. I'll go to the archive and get you that one. But so what are some of your unsightly opinions that you want to educate the world about tonight?
Well, I think there is a prevailing belief, particularly among sighted people, and to put it very delicately,
You don't
amongst
need to be
people
delicate.
to people who are new to the blind or low vision community, that there's a strong sense of helplessness and hopelessness. Um, People tend to focus on kind of life skills first and nurturing yourself second. And it can be really hard to find resources to know what hobbies work for you. How can you adapt a hobby when you're blind or low vision? What is and is not possible? So that's where I come from. Is one of the series that I have running on my channel right now is I want to try and reevaluate what it means to be blind or low vision and what is and is not actually capable. I am the kind of person that believes that there is no impossibility, there's just adaptations that we need to put into place.
Precisely, precisely. So, what are some hobbies
Well,
that you would suggest? I mean, I think if you want my opinion, I think being a YouTuber and podcaster and basically a journalist, universal kind of this notion of global podcasting journalism thing, I think this is a great hobby.
oh, absolutely. I could not agree with you more. That's why I'm really excited. Please come check out my channel. I will have Aaron on sometime, hopefully within the next week here, because we'll talk about how to set up your own podcast if you're interested in doing that with a
Be more than
special
happy.
blind
More
and
than
low
happy to
vision
talk.
spin.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's not, it's really not at all difficult. Really, what I have found to be the most challenging thing in podcasting is figuring out how to talk to guests, right? And how to not necessarily how to convince people to come and talk to me, but kind of how do I even want to even express it? I mean, you kind of know, you kind of can understand what I mean. You have to kind of be the architect, I guess, of not staging the right episode, but you have to kind of know what you want. You kind of have to build the room and set up the room the right way, you know. So
You have to
that's
shape the story that you get.
right, right. And so that's why I have to find the best guests like you, like Tamara. And I have noticed that when other YouTubers are posting their content in groups that are similar to my audience, that means that you want me to contact you. That's a sign, that's a clue that you want to be included when you post
Mm-hmm.
videos. So that's one thing I do. So that's how we connected, is by you expressing interest in my audience, basically, which are
Mm-hmm.
blind people. So that's the three most important things of podcasting: audience, audience, and audience.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. There's
Mm-hmm.
only
I
three
would
things that
say
are
the
important. Yeah.
same thing for YouTube is know your audience. Who are you trying to present to? I think it's important. I feel that it can be sometimes a little bit difficult to break down barriers and dispel misconceptions if we as a community aren't actively kind of banding together and supporting each other. So uh, yeah,
All right.
I'm so
All right.
glad we have that going on.
Sure. Sure. Okay. So, well, so tell us more about, your life story, growing up, what happened, what are some really some big key moments of your, dealing with blindness as we all do from around the world. What can you tell
Mm-hmm.
us?
Well, my story is a little bit unusual. For those who have remaining vision who are watching this, you will probably notice that I have extraordinarily light colored hair. I am albino. So that is usually a very visible sign that someone will have some level of visual impairment. But
Huh.
my parents weren't actually informed of that when I was born.
And
Uh,
as right here, I will tell you, as a matter of interest to you to
mm,
understand who I am. So I mean, you know my name, but actually I was born with glaucoma, and
mm.
you learn every episode of a podcast that I record. I try to learn one thing. You're a great guest because you just taught me something. See, if I
Oh,
learn
really?
if I learn from a guest, they're a great one. I I actually did not know that there is a direct link between albinism and visual impairment. I
Abs-
sorry, didn't know that.
Oh no, that's wonderful. I mean, I'm happy to share
Yeah,
that.
can you keep teaching me about that, and can you
Oh,
expand more
absolutely.
about that? Yeah, that's really
So,
interesting.
what happens with albinism? And there is a really, really wide range of visual abilities within the albinism community, but there will usually be some level of deficit, whether that's kind of your 20/30, so that it's very mild, all the way into kind of very severe legal blindness, well past that 20/200 mark. And there are different forms of albinism. So, it's usually the less pigment you have, the more severe your visual impairment is going to be. What actually happens is because you don't have any pigment, because you don't produce that melanin, the eye, the optic nerve, and the way the eye behaves isn't quite what you'd expect in what we'd call and I using air quotes here, normal eye. Um, so what happens, instead of light entering through the pupil, it also enters through the colored area or the iris, and it goes straight back onto the retina, which is usually not formed correctly, has less rods, less cones, so less color perception, less light perception, and instead of getting absorbed into that kind of black pigment at the back that every pigmented person's eye has, it doesn't get absorbed because there is no pigment, and it just scatters in the eye. So you have usually a lot of issues relating to glare and kind of your picture being completely blown out. You don't have detail vision. You may or may not have some color deficits. Cataracts are incredibly common. Same with like strabismus or having crossed or wall-eyed, because only one of your eyes actually sees at one time. So that's
Hmm.
albinism in a nutshell.
Very interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what I'm more interested, or what I'm equally interested in is, so, a lot of people on my channel like to talk about, where they mainstreamed, and things like that, and some of the experiences they had growing up. And this will lead to, how you got into YouTube and how you got into this hobby of as I say, being a universal podcast journalist,
Mm-hmm.
YouTuber thing. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of walk us through that.
So I was absolutely mainstream the whole way through. My
Great, me
parents
too.
were really firm proponents, despite many expert opinions suggesting that I should be put into a blind school. And I really support that decision. I don't have a problem with people going to blind school, but I think
Me neither.
that for me, it was really important that I had those experiences of being immersed in society at large. So I wasn't in a situation where I was put at where I had absolutely everything I needed. I had to scrounge a little bit. I had to fight for what I got. And that's how the real world works, right? You don't always get all of the adaptations you need. So I was absolutely mainstreamed all the way through. I started in a French immersion program. So I can speak French pretty darn well. That is the second language here in Canada, in case you were unaware.
Oh,
And
I'm not only am I aware, but I speak French. Je parle français.
tu parles français aussi? C'est magnifique.
Exactement, parce que mes parents, ils m'en parlent le français ensemble. Parce que mes parents m'ont la France et j'adore Montpellier, Nice, Aix, j'adore la France. Oui.
Oh,
Mhm.
magnifique.
Yeah.
It's very rare I get to practice my French these days. But that's wonderful. Yeah,
It's
it
really
was a
important. It's really important to be able to speak other languages.
absolutely. I think communication, language is something that I've always been passionate about.
Mm.
Kind of finding ways to communicate and understand the world around you. Because, I mean, I may not see what's in front of me, but if it can be described to me in words, I can get as much of that information and understand as much. I think I'd consider myself a student of life. I like to learn, I like to understand, I like to find the right ways to communicate things. So that's kind of how YouTube came about. As someone who I think would be described as very visually blind, I stand out in a crowd. I have a guide dog. I always use my cane.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful. I had a guide dog too for I'll tell you something off the air.
mm,
I had a guy I had a guide dog too. I
mhm,
completely wonderful. I completely support guide dogs. Where did you get your
mhm.
guide dog from?
I have had guide dogs from two different schools,
Mm-hmm.
BC Alberta Guide Dog Services, who are just a very tiny school out on the west coast of Canada here. And then I got my third guide from Guide Dogs for the Blind. And she is just a treat. She's lovely.
Wonderful.
She's sleeping just off camera right now. So if you hear snores coming, it's not me, it's her.
That I am more than used to that. That is fine. That is
Mm.
fine. Yeah, it was so good. It's so good. So you went down to California to get her. Yeah.
Actually, I went to the Oregon campus, so
Oh
they
yeah,
have their.
that's right. Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Mm,
they do. My guide dog was from Guiding Eyes for the Blind,
oh,
Yorktown Heights, New York. He's
very
so good.
nice.
So, but yeah, that's odd. That's an oddity about guide dogs for the
Mhm.
blind, and by oddity I mean it's kind of, um, it always catches me by surprise that they have two campuses, one in California and one in Oregon. I guess
Mhm.
they must have a lot of Canadian customers. I guess that
That
need to get to
that is it.
Oregon. Yeah.
That is absolutely it. I think of the 8 people, 3 of us were from Canada.
Okay, so it's
That
it's
in
a
my
it's
class.
a business and marketing strategy to have a location near enough to Canada that you're able to easily just fly over and get into the states to Portland and then to the school. That's cool.
Hmm.
That's both a very good idea and it's unusual and it's very clever. It's very clever
Yeah,
marketing. Yeah, it's
very
a very
very
good
few of the
strategy.
U.S. schools will let in us Canadians. You got that border gatekeeping going on. I think we
The
don't have as
guiding
many
eye
schools.
guiding
Mm-hmm.
eyes had when I graduated from guiding eyes in
Mm-hmm.
2009. We had someone from Winnipeg in our
Oh,
class. So
very
guiding,
nice.
oh yeah, so guiding eyes accepts Canadians, and they've had people from all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Good.
great.
Good. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to do a lot of research to try and figure out which school I kind of was looking forward to kind of taking part in. I wanted to find something that really kind of met my needs,
Mm-hmm.
and met with my particular training style and beliefs. So it's a lot of work to find the right guide dog school.
And I think for me it was that I'll tell you exactly how I got into it. when I was a boy, 14. So I'm 29 now. When I was
Mhm.
14 years old, I got my first puppy. Now, not a
Mhm.
guide dog, just a pet dog, because I really
Mhm.
needed a dog. So years go by, and then it was like, it's really weird that I remember the moment. It was 2008,
Mhm.
and my family and I, my parents and I, we went up to Connecticut and New York to visit relatives. And one day we go into New York City, and I was upper teens, but um, still in that teenage mode, of life, in that high school teenage mode. So I was more sensitive and more very easily frustrated. And I
Mhm.
remember walking around Manhattan, and this is like so weird.
Mhm.
Um, um, and uh, and an ambulance
Mhm.
pulls out. I hear a siren, and then I guess I stepped out onto the street too soon, and my mother got nervous or pulled me back or something like that. It was one of those really weird
Mhm.
moments, and then something clicked in my mind, and I thought it just occurred to me, if I had a guide dog, that wouldn't be as big of a problem. A guide dog would
Mhm.
help me to know when to cross,
Mhm.
not understanding that that's not how it works. It's a team
No.
effort. It's a team effort. But
Mhm.
when you're a teenager, that's what you think. So
Right.
I thought, oh, well, I'm, blind. So I thought, oh, well, that might not be a bad idea for me to look into that and see what the process would be. Well, I guess I did some research, and, I'd vaguely heard of these schools, seeing eye, and, places on the East
Mhm.
Coast and things like that. So obviously I wanted to go to a place somewhere near. And I guess I did research for guiding eyes, and, well, think nothing of it. My parents had a lot of my parents probably had more questions than I did about, can
Mhm.
our son even
Mhm.
bring a guide dog into our home with a pet dog and all of that. Well, some research and some emails. Next thing I know, you got a guy coming out to do an interview, and then about a year later, I was accepted into the summer course, and it's a very rigorous thing. It's very
Oh,
rigorous, and
absolutely.
it's I was 18, and I was very, very glad to get her,
Mhm.
and I completely support guide dogs. So
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah, no, I got my first guide dog, Magnus, at 16. I know I had been angling for a guide dog for many a year at that point, because my parents, while they were very insistent on letting me try absolutely everything, wise or unwise, soccer, badminton, hockey, anything you could think of, I was in it. But they were really hesitant to let me go out by myself because they thought I'd get run over by a car, which again, valid concern. And I thought, man, if I get a guide dog, then they'll have to believe that I can do it myself. So I finally won my battle at 16, got my first guide dog, and he saw me through many years at university. It was just a lovely, lovely dog. It was really sad when he passed a few years ago. Yeah. So yeah, no, I was mainstreamed the whole way through my schooling. I had a lot of experiences that I think a lot of my peers who were blind or low vision did not get the opportunity to experience. My parents were very headstrong. They wanted me to have every experience, and I am so incredibly thankful for that. I think it really gave me a good understanding for the world around me and how to maybe not integrates the wrong word, but how to kind of get by with how I am and be authentically me whilst still being a productive member of society.
Sure, sure, definitely. All right, good.
Mm-hmm.
So you graduated from your high school, and
Mm-hmm.
then what?
Then it was off to university for many, many years. Changed careers about 16 times because I am an indecisive person. I was in science research. Then I was looking into. I did massage therapy. I did kind of counseling.
Hmm.
I did music education.
Hmm. All
Um,
good. All good choices, by the way.
mhm.
All
I
and all connected, and all very perfectly acceptable choices. Yeah.
absolutely. They're very. I had some more unusual ones.
Well, let's go with those. Which one was the most unusual?
I studied naturopathic medicine. So I was determined that I was going to be a medical doctor. I had some health problems that meant that I couldn't end up practicing or really completing that journey that was probably one of my biggest dreams.
Right.
But it had nothing to do with my visual impairment. It had nothing to do with my blindness that prevented me from doing that. And I feel that's a very important distinction. Because I truly believe that anyone can do anything that they want to do, provided they are given the correct accommodations and given the space to learn and grow in their own way. Except maybe driving, but let's hope technology kind of catches up with us here in the next few years, and then that's no longer even an issue. Yeah.
Sure. So, okay, in the end, what did you end up graduating with a degree in? What is the degree in the end?
Oh boy. So there was the diploma in massage therapy. I have a diploma in natural health counseling, health education. There was, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting so many. The counseling. There was the naturopathy. Anyways, I'll have a lot of very expensive pieces of paper, and they basically do nothing for me now. I use music is my main employer right now, and that's by choice. I could work in any of a number of different fields, but I think in recent years I had a lot of soul searching that I did to find what truly makes me happy, and that is teaching young kids to find joy in artistic pursuits.
Great.
And so I do that with kids who have no disabilities whatsoever, but I specialize in working with kids who have autism or blindness or deafness or any kind of cognitive or physical disability. And I think it's brilliant. I love it.
I appreciate that. It's so good. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, in all of your music teaching and inspiration that you do, I mean, kids say the darndest things.
Oh, yes, they sure do.
What was one of those things, or maybe the most hysterically funny thing that someone has ever said to you? I mean, people say some really funny stuff. Like, what was the funniest experience you had, or something?
Oh goodness, I have kids that ask all kinds of questions. When they finally clock in that I can't see, there's always a whole range of questions that come up, and some of them are really funny. It's like, well, you can't see. No, I can't see very well. No, I can't see. Oh, but can you see me? No, I can't see you. But can you it's like there's always a long list of can you see like a birthday cake? And it's like it gets the priorities are really funny with kids. What they're most concerned that you can't see, or when they have printed music on the pages. Okay, what's that? And I'm going, okay, yeah, okay, we got to work this through together because I can't see that. So there's definitely a lot more kind of collaboration that goes into how I teach as a teacher. I say that I am the guide and the student is the teacher. So I will help.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's how I view podcasting and my day job as a teacher too, is that I am someone who facilitates your learning, or in my case, helps you to write the story or write the book that we then send out to the world for our viewers to read. So I agree. It's really important for us to be the facilitator of knowledge. I could not agree more with that. Yes.
Yeah. I've learned more from my students than I ever did kind of just learning music myself or trying to force anything on anyone. I don't think that's the right way to go about things. So yeah, no, I love what I do. And I love that I can be a very subtle voice for inclusion with my mainstream students and with my students with disabilities. Because oftentimes with a lot of my students, their parents come to me because they've run into any number of problems. The teacher doesn't know how to do this. The teacher doesn't know how to do that. I've been turned down 6 times because my kid does this and has that behavior, or how do I even approach this? And then I can sit down, we can work as a team, we can problem solve. And then it's amazing to see what these kids can do. I have some nonverbal students who play piano better than a lot of kids twice their age. It's just you need to give them the
Oh
tools to
yeah.
succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had someone on our podcast here. Listen, you'll remember the concert. What did I even call the episode now, guys? You guys are going to remember at home. It was over the summer. We had a bit of a summer concert on this podcast where we had Santon, I forget his name, Santon Music or something like that. He's this Russian. Well, grew up born in Russia, but now he lives
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in North America, I guess. He played piano so well. Funny. See, he said a lot. He said a lot of hysteric. That was quite an. That was strap yourself in for that one. That was quite a concert. Yeah, he played so well that I could have just listened to him the whole night. And in fact, I let him play his piano at first. I let him play an entire piece, and then I introduced the podcast.
Oh
So
my goodness, that's
it was,
wonderful.
that's really powerful, to really include a
Mm-hmm.
guest like that, to let them, walk in the room and start playing, and then kind of stop them at
Mm-hmm.
some point and say, well, listeners, who was that? And then I let him introduce himself, and then of course he plays the. So then he can also play the violin,
Mm-hmm.
and he plays all the. He's like he's one of these virtuosos, truly, one of these gifted, brilliant musician.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the violin. I said, so can you play any national anthems? He starts out with the United States, and then he didn't even pause. Then he immediately plays the Russian anthem, and I wasn't on camera, but like I was like smiling, I was like laughing, and I was muted, but I was like humming it and laughing to myself about it. And then at the end of that, he says, I said something like, I was laughing while talking. I was like, I was gonna ask you to play. I was gonna ask you to play the Russian anthem, but you already did that. And he said, yeah. He said, that's a meme. He says.
Oh, oh. Yeah, I suppose it's a bit of a juxtaposition, the U.S. anthem next to the Russian anthem. There's some undertones there for sure.
That's
Ooh.
exactly the humor that he had, that
Mhm.
he thought to do that. And then of course
Mhm.
he played of course La Marseillaise, and
Mhm.
but that was, it's really cool to work with people like that, where
Mhm.
even with him, I noticed in that recording that I had to kind of help him tell his story a little bit. I mean, he speaks American English normally, but with
Mhm.
his, as you said, sometimes when you work with someone with a disability who's, autistic, they don't, they struggle when it comes to telling a story. So they
Mhm.
express themselves in an artistic and beautiful and hysterically funny way. And
Absolutely.
that was one of my most memorable. That whole
Mhm.
meme thing with the Russian national anthem, that was one of the most funny I mean, if you go to my channel, guys, let me tell you, some hysterically funny things have happened on this channel, but that was pretty funny. That was pretty good. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, music I think is one of those fundamental things
And
that it is
universal.
absolutely universal. It is so fundamental to being human that we don't have words to express the things that we can emote with music. Music has saved me, I don't even know how many times throughout my life. It was my first employer. It's now my full-time employer again, but it gives so many different opportunities and ways to express oneself. I am one of those multi-instrumentalists that needs to understand everything. So I mean, I am a concert violinist. That's where I started, playing with orchestras and playing kind of really virtuosic music. But then I
Great.
had to learn piano, and then now I learned clarinet and
Good.
saxophone and flute, and now I'm just starting
Yeah, I
guitar
played I
because
played the flute. So my instrument was I played the flute.
oh, very
Yeah.
nice.
And what was the most prestigious orchestra you've been in or played in?
Oh goodness.
I mean, have you played professionally, like
Oh
in a
yes, yeah. I've been playing professionally since I was about 9 years old.
Oh, good. Okay.
Um,
So
Both my parents are musicians, so that should give some context there as to yes.
so are they orchestra musicians too?
No, both of them were what I'd call professionals who are musicians on the side, but very, very good musicians. My mother was a concert pianist who had her MBA and consulted to the government. My dad is a retired lawyer who has been a professional musician and writes stage shows and orchestrations and all kinds of fun stuff. So, I mean, it was almost an inevitability that I'd be thrown into music headfirst. So yeah, there was definitely a push for music when I was younger. Yeah.
So what orchestras do you play with now? Yeah.
I have played with the Y string ensemble. I've played with oh gosh, there was one in Europe. I can't remember what they were called. It'll come to me in 20 minutes when it's no longer relevant. I've done mostly solo work, more so than ensemble stuff. So I'll guest and do a lot of weddings and funerals and kind of cruise ship stuff.
For just for some, I played the flute. I was taking lessons with a professional flutist. I was going to audition only music camps in the summer. So I would say I never played well enough to be a professional, but fair to say that I scraped the edge of maybe that that one tier below, like a very, 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 probably quite good musician for quite a while, and then times changed and I moved my interest around and focused on work and other things, which is what all musicians would do. Yeah, one of my students. Oh God, this one is funny.
Okay.
This is material. So I teach English as a second language for Company X. One day, student comes in on a camera. It's like this. It's kind of like a Skype-ish thing, She comes in, and it's a woman from one of the Asian countries, and she says, "I'm a professional violinist." Oh, good, cool. I played the flute for so many years. Oh, good. That connection. That's all interesting. I said, so I say, so you're a professional violinist. So are you in an orchestra? She says, yes. She said she was hired. Really fascinating person to talk to. Wish she had come back. She was hired by the Oklahoma City Philharmonic to be a musician for them in their orchestra. And she says, ever since the health situation thing, the orchestras in America are not really practicing or doing anything.
No.
And so then to help her with the English and to keep the conversation, I was saying, keep it going. I was saying, so, do you hope to play for, New York Philharmonic? Do you hope to play for the major orchestras, National Symphony, Baltimore, the bigger ones? She says yes. And then I said, so, I explained the classification. There's like the A, B, and C orchestras in the professional side in the States. There's a hierarchy,
Oh, yes.
So, okay. So, right. You understand that part of it. And then the hysterical part was, I said, so, would you say Oklahoma City is A level or B level? It gets better. Hold on. No. She said, actually, hey, it might be B, but she says, no, actually, they're 2 levels below that. They aren't very good at all. She says,
oh, no. Oh.
I said, it was like hilarious. I said, so in my mind, I didn't say this out loud to the woman, but in my mind, I was thinking, okay, so they're paying you money to play your violin and all you can say is they're 2 levels below. I said, and then I said, you could be a little bit supportive. She says, yeah, but they just aren't doing it. They just aren't doing much, she says. So it was, I guess, her dream to probably what it was. I'm guessing was that she very well could be good enough for New York or the A level, but and I really have no idea. I'm just speculating. Maybe it was that it was the forms or the process or the bureaucracy to get up to that level might have been too high, might have been just too much, maybe. And because it's it's really bureaucratic, actually, for listeners that don't know, right?
Incredibly, right? You have to know somebody to get into the form. You have to know somebody even to get an audition. And even then you better come with some serious backing or there's no chance. Because who wouldn't give money to just sit in an orchestra and play beautiful music every day and have a repertoire that's 50 miles long? It's a brilliant position. I considered it very very briefly once. I just thought, with the quantity of music that they go through, I could not memorize
That's what you
what
would
I
have to.
needed to
A blind
memorize.
person, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And a blind person would have to be able to memorize an enormous amount. I mean,
Instantaneous.
there have been a lot there. I mean, I'm sure that's happened. I'm sure I'll get some comment that says, "Well, I'm a blind musician." Wouldn't it? Would I'll probably get a blind musician from Oklahoma City who will
Mm.
say, "I'm from the Oklahoma City Philharmonic and I'm blind." And
And
there'll
I
be some sort.
welcome that. I welcome that. I mean, I have played in a number of orchestras where, I just make sure that I have the material several months in advance for the
Exactly.
next
That's what I did.
several months, and
Yeah.
I have memorized everything,
Yeah.
every single note. So it is possible. It's just a time commitment that is, let's say, a little bit unfair to what everyone else is expected to
Yeah,
do.
I don't know if it's really, yeah, I think that it can be a great hobby, but as far as a job, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Mm.
For sure, for sure. Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Speaking of your violin, do you want to play something? Maybe the Russian national anthem or
Oh,
something? That's all.
I
That's all
don't
right.
want to do it that disservice. I do actually have my violin here. It's a little out of tune.
Oh,
Maybe at
that's
the
all right.
end. Maybe at the
Oh,
end I'll play something.
that would really, guys, that would just make me so happy. Just some music to cheer us up from all over the world. We need some positivity.
I will. I will. How about a little meditation from Tai? It is
Or,
one
or,
of my all-time
or in good,
favorites.
or, there you go. Or I was going to say the Canadian national anthem, mainly because I fixate on national anthems. But meditation from that would be, but whatever you said is going to be beautiful. I'm sure. Yeah.
It's I think it's very appropriate for the time. It's a story about truly contemplating direction in life, and I think we're all feeling that a little bit right now.
Really? No, no kidding. No kidding. I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only guy in the entire world. You mean there's
Uh,
someone? You mean there's someone else in the universe who also thinks? I didn't know there were more people in the universe. I thought I was the only one. What? What?
yeah, no, I
Oh,
think we're all having a slight existential crisis at the moment.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
So, but then, I mean, well, we really, you should have. This is, see, guys, this is why podcasting is so good. I didn't know that you're a musician. That part didn't really click, and then we got into this great little conversation here.
Yeah, no, it's
So,
it's one of my biggest passions.
huh?
Like it I eat, breathe, and sleep music. If
Okay.
you could, yeah. It's to the point now that I am working on an accessible music series, music theory series. Hopefully, moving into songbooks that is going to be available in.
We're gonna have that. We're gonna and you're required to come back to Aaron's opinion
All
and talk
right.
to me about that, because that would be a really good product for me to talk about if you produce something that is so good, so good.
Yes, it
Well,
is so lacking in the
yeah, really.
community, right?
And that was one of the things that I noticed throughout all my years of music. It was like pulling teeth for my TVI just to find someone who would be willing to transcribe and produce the Braille music. Oh my God. What a
It's
what a
impossible.
what
Oh,
a
I think
struggle
they
that.
have two transcribers at Bard now, which is awesome. Sadly, as a Canadian, I cannot use that, but I know there are two that work for almost nothing, I believe, in terms of cost.
Well, okay, well that's not good either. All right, well
I'm sure they get paid through the funding through Bard, but no, they don't charge for what they do.
you see, maybe to rephrase it a little, maybe
Yes,
you feel that they are not being fairly compensated for their knowledge.
yes,
There we
I
go.
definitely.
There we go.
Thank you. You helped
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, and I think I have this creative spirit that kind of drove me towards YouTube.
So speaking, right, so let's dig in
Mm,
there. Okay, so
mm.
how did you get into YouTube? It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of patience to do these interviews and to do YouTube. It's kind, if you would hate to do it, it would be something that you would really hate, because YouTube can be really negative and annoying and time consuming. You have to have a lot of patience. How did you get in there?
I feel like I have a bit of a educator spirit. Um, Having been a music teacher for, oh gosh, I'm gonna date myself here, more than 15 years, we'll just say that. Um, it there is nothing I have not heard at this point. There is no comment that I have not heard 100 times. So, somebody could say you're faking, somebody could claim that I'm an idiot, and it doesn't matter. It's just water off my back. But
Have
I
you?
really feel passionate about sharing kind of what is possible. And I felt like there isn't enough representation of our wonderful, beautiful, really vast community that just nobody talks about.
Right, right. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Yeah, there are an enormously high number of comments that are made to blind YouTubers. Now, luckily, I'm unfamous and unimportant, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not an important person. Thank God, I'm
Oh,
not
me too.
important.
Oh, I don't want that.
I am blessed. I am blessed with I I am blessed.
Mediocrity?
There you go. I'm blessed with plenty. I'm blessed with plenty of people. I'm blessed with plenty of people who do not like me, which
Mm.
which is very useful when you do not want to be liked. So it's good. But because of that, I don't have people like taking swings at me saying, "Oh, Aaron, you're faking. You're faking." It is really weird that a lot of people. I'm not going to name drop the other blind lady in Canada who does a lot of YouTube videos, the very,
Mm-hmm.
very, very, very famous one. People
Yes.
tell her all the time, Miss B, we'll call her.
Mm-hmm.
You know who it is. Miss
Oh,
B,
yes.
you're faking, you're faking, you're faking. Um, I
It's so unhelpful.
it's really weird.
Oh.
It's really weird. It's no, it is unhelpful. You're right. It's really weird. And like, what if I told a sighted person, you're faking, you're blind?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like wouldn't that be a weird? I don't know. Like wouldn't that be a really weird thing to say?
It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense on any level, right? Because it's not like you're looking for sympathy or handouts or something. I don't know what people think you'd gain by faking. I really don't. It
Yeah.
doesn't make
I
sense
don't
to
know
me on
why. Why do
any
you think
level.
so? Then I don't know. I don't know why they're making the comment. Why do you think people make that comment tomorrow? Why do you think?
I think there is this deep-seated belief that is hard to shake, and I think it's because of the perception of blindness in media
Mm-hmm.
and just society in general. Whenever you see a blind person there, they look or they are portrayed as incompetent
Right.
or incapable, and that could not be further from the truth. I mean, there's so many different layers. We are a community, we are a spectrum,
Right.
we are individuals. You could line up 10 people with the same visual condition, with the same type, and we'd all perceive things differently
Exactly.
because of our visual differences. 10 people with 20 over 400 vision, and everyone would see something different. Some would see colors better, some would see textures better, some would see definition, but it doesn't really serve anyone to say blindness is all or nothing, and if you're not all the way blind, you don't belong. That's just wrong, because that's not accurate. Because I mean, what is it? Less than 10% of us have no kind of light perception whatsoever. I think that's the statistic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get that. It's just kind of a weird it's just kind of a weird thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really unproductive to say so. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Now what occurred to me to say was, and also, just because you're blind, it doesn't mean that you're competent. It doesn't mean that
No,
it doesn't mean that you're perfect because you're blind, and it does
no,
not and it does not mean that a blind person cannot be incompetent. The fact is,
we're
there are
people.
there people are people. There are plenty of incompetent sighted people. So then
Ex-
logically there has to be plenty of incompetent blind people, because that's how people
Absolutely.
are. So the people problems don't go away just because you're blind or sighted. They're still there regardless. But yeah, making these silly comments, guys, any important YouTuber, so I'll say it because I'm unimportant, from an
Mm.
unimportant or a what do you call yourself?
Unsightly.
Or if you want my unsightly opinion,
Yeah.
stop saying, please stop saying silly stuff. All
Oh
right.
yeah. I mean,
Ah,
I am definitely in that highly unimportant category. I am
good.
definitely in the back of the mediocrity, stuck in the back here, and that's where I want to be. But I for the 50 people that I reach, I hope that I can kind
Hmm.
of change some perceptions, blind or not, as
Yeah.
to what is possible, and maybe look at things from a new perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and not be afraid to kind of say what you mean, because if you are too delicate, I mean, I try and be welcoming, but if you're too delicate, people aren't going to get the point. That's where I'm coming from.
I find that with podcasting, you just have to speak from your heart. You have to kind of practice the speaking aspect, the speaking
Mm-hmm.
tool of it. But then you just have to speak, and over a period of a year, it takes practice to get onto a microphone and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Ironically,
Absolutely.
I do it at work all day, so I love to just sit here and talk and talk and talk and talk. But it's just sort of a skill, I guess, that you just have to practice over a period of time until you start to discover that each time I post more content, more and more people are listening. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
who you are out there, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And the most important listeners, guys, are the unseen listeners, the
Mm.
secret listener. There's people secretly listening from all over the world. We know where you are. Some of
Mm-hmm.
you are in Canada, right? On
Mm-hmm.
my tool, I can vaguely know where some of you are from. Thank you. So thank you for listening to Aaron's Opinion, the podcast where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. That's kind of my slogan. Thanks for listening. United States, Canada, Brazil, Jamaica, Turkey, and India. Those are the
Oh.
flags that I'm seeing. No, I don't know who the Turkish person is.
Mm.
You know what? They're probably. Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is. Right? It's a violinist from Zonguldak. Do you know where Zonguldak is?
No, no, I
That's
have
fine. It's a very small and unimportant city. Okay, so
my
so
geography is terrible.
it's a
Those
very small.
tactile maps did not do justice
So
to
I'm kidding. So to the 2% of you who on the chart, 2% of you in Turkey, no, you're probably from Istanbul or Ankara, so you wouldn't care. But if you're from Zonguldak, sorry, no, your city is important. Have to clarify that one. And and no, you probably are not a violinist. You're probably, I don't know, a computer programmer or something like that. But then again, if you are a violinist, uh, I don't know, or you can
welcome.
just well, yeah, welcome, or you
Yeah.
can pretend to be a violinist, right?
Hey,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Nothing stopping you, Turkey, from commenting below. I'm a violinist, right? Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nothing would stop you guys from emailing me at aaronsopinion6@email.com. Nothing would stop you from emailing me at aaronsopinion6@gmail.com. AARONSOPINION, the number 6@gmail.com. You can either tell me what a horrible person I am or the fact that I'm definitely going to hell, which is fine. Could be. Or you could also tell me that, you know what, Aaron, I kind of like your content and you're a little weird. Yeah, I am. You have some strange opinions. Yeah, they are. But I really enjoy listening to you. Thanks. Merci beaucoup. We're glad you're here. And you could even though you guys are too afraid to do it, I'm curious because no one's done it. You might even want to become a member of my Patreon. You could even become a patron on my Patreon thing. And no, you were Tamara, you were wondering what is it like to be a blind user of Patreon? I don't know. Nobody ever signs up. I don't know what
Oh,
happens.
well,
So
that needs to be fixed, I think. Someone out there listening has a few dollars to spare.
I would be touched. I would appreciate it from all over the world. Thanks for that. But yeah, guys, I really do wish. I mean, I don't know. Do people, when you give out, and I haven't watched your channel, but when you give out um, your plug at the end of your content, does anyone actually like follow up with you and email you, or is it just me that no one? I mean, I'm just curious. Like,
Um,
what's your theory about that?
I think a lot of people tune out when you get to the and thanks so much for watching. I mean, I know I sometimes tune out when we get to that part of the video, but I think there are people, and I have had people come cross-platform say, "Oh, I didn't know there was such a thing as an accessible Twitch stream. What is that?" And they'll pop on over and watch a stream and kind of hang out and see that it's a pretty good time. And I am by no means a good gamer. I am truly awful. But
Well,
I
could you
hope
beat?
that
Okay, could you beat illegally cited?
I don't know. That's a match I definitely want to
Just
set up.
just have some confidence. Just you can lie. You can lie. You
Okay,
don't have to tell the
yes,
truth.
I'm fantastic.
There we
I'm the best. I
go.
could beat PewDiePie. No, 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 no.
No, well, you said it. I don't know. You could beat illegally cited. Oh boy, we're gonna have you on the. I think you're gonna be one of our most important people in the WhatsApp group and on the channel. I don't think this is the last time we'll be seeing your face on this thing.
Oh, I hope not. I'm having a good time. Yeah, no, I love accessibility, and that's my passion. That's why I do what I do, and I just want to share that with people who may not experience that any other way. So I'm terrible. I mean, we just started playing The Witcher last night,
Oh,
and
The Witcher.
tragic,
That's a game.
just
Yeah,
absolutely
is that
tragic. I
about
can.
that Netflix series, like the
Yes.
medieval thing? I didn't know that
Yeah,
was a video.
it started as a video game, but I think it's probably one of the first times a video game has been turned into a really good TV show. I
Actually,
haven't seen it.
it's really boring. I could
Oh,
only
is
watch
it?
one episode, so
Oh,
I was so bored. Actually, you know what? I'm just far too bored of the Netflix series, so I refuse to
mm.
play the video game because it's just too boring. But I'm glad you are entertained by it.
Oh, very
Yes.
much so. I mean, I like a challenge. I'm not afraid
Cool.
of a challenge. I have my sighted boyfriend sit next to me, and he whispers into my ear all game long. Okay, a little to the left, a little to the right.
Okay, so
Okay,
right.
that's
Okay,
as
so good. Okay, good.
yeah.
So right, cheater. Okay, fine, fine. Yeah,
Oh, oh,
we
yeah.
love
Well,
it.
I don't think I
See,
could do it without.
I think we need to have a special edition of Aaron's opinion. It would be hard to set up. I'd be happy to do it. You and illegally cited and me. We'll get you talking about accessible gaming. He'll get you
Oh,
straightened
please.
out.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
can't
need that.
promise. Can't promise. He's shy. He's a brilliant YouTuber. I was trying to talk to him today about an um,
Hmm.
issue that was important. I forgot what it was. It was something important. And I don't know, he might have called me. I don't know. I'm trying to kind of track him down a little bit. He's, understandably, as all of us blind people are, he's very private. So he's,
Hmm.
he's more shy than you would actually expect.
Oh,
Um,
really? I mean,
yeah.
I've noticed that with a lot of YouTubers.
Well,
They
it's
can
no
be very
wonder.
outgoing and
Sure.
very personable when they're on video, but just shy. I believe it or not, I am one of those
And I'm
people.
extremely, and guys, I will tell you that I am extremely unfriendly in person. Um, so you're better off talking to me on the channel. It's nothing personal, but us YouTubers, even us unsightly ones, we
Hmm.
don't we don't like doing stuff in person, people coming up to us. So that's another thing. If you see a YouTuber, please avoid them because I know they
Hmm.
don't want to be talked to or interacted with. If they're at a major YouTube event and it's crystal clear that they want that and that it's okay, they'll say, okay, you can come up to me and, we can take a picture or
Hmm.
something. That's fine. But most of them don't want that attention,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
vast majority. And it's not safe in today's world. So please don't go up
No.
to a YouTuber like that. Yeah.
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 But it's all very interesting.
Hmm.
Definitely some material here.
Oh, absolutely.
I tell you what, guys. Let's pour it. See, okay, we have our coffee. Obviously, we have our drink. That means
Hmm.
we need some music to wrap it up for us. I have about 7 minutes. So if you want, well, you don't need water to play the violin. I just need coffee to listen to the violin. What do you need the water for? You don't need water.
All right, let me just. Oh boy, we're at a little out of tune in here, so just give me a moment.
Sure. Ah.
Ooh, my A has gone. My violin does not like the fall weather. It's from the Mediterranean, so. I'm going to take these headphones off just so I don't catch it. Actually, I'll put them on backwards. Because there is nothing worse than catching your headphone cords in your bow. All right, here's a little meditation from Tai. There you have it.
Perfect. Absolutely. You know, I certainly recognize that one. That's a great one. Absolutely magnificent piece to end a magnificent episode. It reminds me, you know what that reminds me of as far as the flute repertoire is concerned. That reminds me of the partiti. Um, forget who,
Bye.
forget.
Oh,
Bach's partiti. You know that like really kind of long, mystical, poetic piece that was written for the flute, where it's just a solo instrument like that. That's what that's similar to in a lot of ways. It's totally different melody, but sort of similar concept.
Feel,
You know,
yes.
if you were on the desert island with a piece of music and an instrument for you, it would be that for the flute and the partiti. But that was absolutely magnificent.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was totally loved that episode. So I don't know about you guys. That's all I've got. Any final words of wisdom for our listener?
No, I think just thank you so much for having me. I had an absolute blast. It
Well,
was
there you
just
go.
an absolute delight.
Well, this is why you guys should come on my podcast more often. Apparently, you'll have a blast and a delight and a great time,
Yeah,
right?
I sure did.
Well, you
Definitely
sure
check
did.
back in.
Well, we're going to have you on here a lot more to do some gaming and some plenty more where that came from for episodes. You've been listening to Aaron's Opinion, podcast for blind people, where we certainly talk about issues in the blindness community. Today, well, I thought we would be talking more about hobbies, and then we ended with our with a concert. So really wonderful. For more information about Tamara, click the links. The in description will help you with that. And as I like to say from around the world, I wish the entire world great health. Stay healthy, stay safe, everybody. Keep downloading this podcast, keep listening, keep sharing. Remember, as I said, Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook. Even consider following me on and becoming a patron. All right, guys? Until next time, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know what I'm going to say here. Have a good day today and a great day tomorrow.